All right, so this video is about proving the devil doesn't exist, proving black magic doesn't exist, using a format which can be considered offshot logic, but really it's just direct logic. It's just that you guys don't. I don't know. The description of logics can be contoured. All right, depending on the circumstance. That's also what makes a warlock, by the way. To have magic, you have to be able to contour. It's kind of like when I'm skateboarding outside. It's not the same, but contouring my slide, even though you can't see my slides, they're so micro small. Those are very important, extremely important. It's all about the dexterity. In this case, the dexterity of the thought. And to prove that the devil doesn't exist, and that to prove that, I will throw at you my street credible intuitional diagnosis, if you will, of what people claim is the devil and prove that it doesn't exist straight up. Okay. First of all, the devil, in every description that I'm aware of now, I'm not a linguist and I haven't been through many books, and sure, you can insult me for that. Okay. But for every story I've ever heard, which is predominantly Christian, about the devil, and many other societies have similar beliefs, it's just contoured, as I like to put it, contoured belief as well. But they a lot of them will say, he will give you anything for being awful, right? So look, I don't have everything. I'm definitely not, I'm technically a millionaire maybe, but I'm very low level, low key. I don't have that much money. Okay. So I didn't get anything and everything, and I never tried to follow them either. But then again, if you look at people that say they do follow Satan and fuck with demons and so forth, if you want to come out and really get to the nitty gritty of it, what has it gotten you? Now, to prove somebody is not, capable of magic, that's all you have to do. Because guess what? Warlocks don't like to be poor, my bros. Okay? Warlocks don't like to be poor. Now, there's a few of them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're not allowed. But most of the time when you see a poor warlock, it's a red flag. Because most warlocks have income that generates enough to buy their own stuff. So that in itself is proof that the devil does not exist. For if they, according to what they say, they follow him and they like the black arts, well, if that's the case, then you're straight up satanic. And if that's the case, you have no power on top of it. Have no power because there's no power base. The devil has no power. Your magic is pointless. My magic is not pointless. On the other hand, I do most of it at night. I can do some weaving, if you will, during the daytime. I'm allowed to do some weaving of conjures during the daytime, but they're considered less powerful, and they're just kind of like Band-Aid conjures. And if you don't do all that, and the way you do a conjure is very important. If you sit there and say you got to say words, absolutely not, but you can get a conjure to initiate using words. A conjure doesn't have to take words. It's actually can. You just direct it that way, but most people don't use words to make a conjure. A conjure is made up of the opposing vibes that came to you from a certain district, and you're trying to relay them back in an opposing viewpoint as a knowledge that, on this life form and you're that life form, keep your distance type of thing. And when you do that, they respect you back and give you some info. So if you don't know how to be a warlock, then you don't know how to use the magic. And if you haven't described the magic, you probably aren't a warlock. You can't go into old books of Testament about black magic. That's just going to get you nowhere. All that shit's fake. Oh, my video is ready here. I just made a music video, guys. Do you want me to play it before I fucking, yeah. Now, the sound quality is weird because I put it through a weird system, so I may have to redo it. but I think it'll sound good through that speaker. Pretty sure, and the visuals are awesome. So I think I'll keep it. Let's see what it looks like. All right, so we'll just go ahead and load it like that, I guess. And if I have to fucking modify it, this is all this is a slower version of a tune I did previously. But forget all that because we're not here for that. So I just have to make a title and move on really quick. I'm just going to call it Lump 43 and mix Lump 43. Sorry, yeah, mix dash 43. Mix 43 song Lump. I'm just going to call it Lump. All right, we're done here. Moving on. So another thing about a warlock is a warlock will get involved, but they won't generally get involved having like deliberation throughout whatever, like a live stream or something. They're not going to do that. When they're making magic, they're not going to do that specially. So that would it tends to throw you off of your warlock game if you're trying to use your creativity. So you got to be very careful about that because if you're not the warlock, then what's going to happen while you're not the warlock? So you got to be very careful about that. You switch over to creativity and then go back to warlock. Warlock is an extended version of creativity. It's outside yourself. It latches on to different things outside of yourself, and that's how you become a warlock. Now, there's only 46 known warlocks that I'm aware of, and I was told 46. That's the number they quoted me. But supposedly they said it varies. They come and go. Some don't quite make it to the expertise as most warlocks. Okay? And now I get that information from other entities outside of us, and they are also warlocks. They're of a higher nature. They are still warlocks, though. They're usually of a higher nature outside of us because we're more or less a biological robot, and they even are directed to make us. So these beings make us, then they process us. They don't really have a sociological reason to get to know us, so they just continue to let us advance on our own level. And if you're a warlock, you need to know that. If you're not a warlock, you don't need to know that. And so this is what I was going to say about King Cobra. Yeah, I hate to say it. I'm not dissing you or anything, man. Peace, man. I hope you are a warlock there. I'm just not aware of it. Okay, let's just put it that way, mildly, because I'm not trying to shoot anyone down. This is about my viewpoint, which is to be a warlock, you have to be able to do a lot of different things, and you have to accept the mistakes along the way. Now, if you're just making wands with some wire wrapped around them, I mean, good for you, but it's all good. I mean, you just have to do what you have to do to make your mind feel like you're considered, you are on that level. But if you're not, you'll never know it because a warlock will know if he's a warlock. Now, if he says he's a warlock, that's two different things. So another thing, I just want to reiterate, the devil says, supposedly in the Bible at least, that if you follow him, he'll give you anything. Well, look at all the people that follow him and don't have shit. And the ones that are elite only are elite because they have ways to steal that we do not, which means they can steal a lot more money. People like Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Obama, is probably guilty of all kinds of stupid shit, but, he's one of the quietest background presidents we've ever had. In other words, they don't have much info on him. All right. And the info that they do have, people like Alex Jones have actually got, but he's not the biggest deal either. Alex Jones, he's exaggerates his emotion all the time, which can kind of disturb me when I'm trying to listen to him anyway, and then makes you think how much more shit does he exaggerate besides his voice. Okay. So there's a key. Knowing who the individuals are, right away intuitionally gathering their information and understanding who they are. Now, when I first started on Alex Jones, I just said he has some good talking points, but he has an exaggeration capability which can throw off the belief system that some or may have about what he's saying. And that goes for the Bilderbergs and all these rich elite cocksuckers. Okay, to be a warlock, you have to know all this shit intuitionally, and if you do not, you're not politically set to be anyone.